Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. When we think of spring, we usually think of a massive welcome relief, right? Melting snow, singing birds, and finally ditching those heavy winter coats. But while we're all looking up at the sunshine, there is a huge, unseen, and, well, frankly gross, crisis brewing right beneath our feet. For local plumbing companies, spring is notoriously known as a peak period for catastrophic plumbing emergencies. So today, we're unpacking exactly why this pleasant season brings a rising tide of invisible, underground disasters, and, more importantly, how you can protect your own home.
Okay, let's dive into this. It seems completely counterintuitive, doesn't it? You would think winter, with its freezing temperatures and bursting pipes, would be the absolute, undisputed king of plumbing headaches. So why on earth do reports from drain cleaning companies show that calls for sewer backups, overflowing drains, and stubborn clogs actually rise sharply during the spring thaw? What is the hidden danger that warmer weather is posing to our local sewer infrastructure?
To understand this, we really have to look at the seasonal differences. During the summer, the plumbing issues you face are mostly just caused by routine wear and tear. A localized clog in your sink, a worn-out washer, just standard stuff. But spring plumbing issues, that's a completely different beast. The incidents we see in the spring are frequently tied to how thaw cycles place absolutely massive stress on the entire local sewer infrastructure. This happens when temperatures climb quickly. All that accumulated snow and ice begins to melt rapidly, flowing into local waterways and storm systems all at once, and that creates an environment of extreme stress underground.
So the really crucial point here is that these spring backups aren't just random bad luck striking isolated houses. Not at all. They are the result of a highly predictable chain reaction. What we are looking at is literally the anatomy of a perfect storm. It's a systemic overload where multiple environmental factors suddenly converge on infrastructure that simply was not designed to handle them all at the exact same time. Let's actually break down how this storm gathers.
Let's look at how this builds chronologically. During the deep winter freeze, water in the soil and underground pipes is largely immobilized as ice. It's totally trapped. But then, early spring hits. As the ground thaws, all of that stored water returns to movement. Now, factor in spring weather, which, let's be honest, is rarely consistent. A warm day melts the snow rapidly, and then subsequent spring storms deliver heavy torrential rainfall right on top of it. This melt and rain sequence suddenly dumps an immense volume of water into both stormwater and wastewater systems in incredibly short periods of time. Suddenly, the infrastructure is drinking from a fire hose.
Now, what's truly surprising is what that massive volume of water brings along with it. All winter long, things have been accumulating on the roads and around storm inlets. We are talking about sand, harsh salt residues, small street debris, and decaying organic material. When that accelerated melting and heavy rain hits, it flushes all of this winter sediment directly downstream into the pipes. So any minor, partial blockages that might have been sitting harmlessly in the sewer lines, they are suddenly packed with thick grit and debris, turning them into full, impenetrable obstructions.
Think of the public sewer main like a highway. A summer sewer main is like normal traffic on a clear day. Things are moving smoothly, there's plenty of room. But a spring sewer main? That is the equivalent of rush hour traffic during a torrential downpour while a dump truck is actively spilling road debris across all lanes. The system experiences absolute gridlock. And when the main public sewer lines jam up like this, that massive volume of wastewater has to go somewhere. Unfortunately, the path of least resistance is often backwards, right into home drains.
And this brilliantly illustrates the next compounding factor, which brings us even deeper underground. It's not just the water entering from the top through storm drains, it's what is actually happening in the soil surrounding the pipes themselves. We call this the groundwater pressure cooker.
This brings us to a phenomenon known as groundwater infiltration. Basically, as the snow melts and the rain falls, the overall level of the groundwater in the earth rises significantly. This saturated soil acts exactly like a pressure cooker, physically squeezing water against underground pipes. In older neighborhoods or in sewer lines where pipe materials or joints have cracked or deteriorated over time, this pressurized groundwater actually forces its way inside the pipes. This infiltration silently steals vital capacity from the sewer lines, leaving even less room for the actual wastewater flow. When we layer these elements together, we can clearly see the full picture of our perfect storm. You've got meltwater surging the base volume of water to extreme levels. You have winter debris, which rushes in to create physical, concrete-like obstructions. And you have groundwater infiltration, which squeezes older pipes and reduces their overall capacity. Layering these three distinct factors on top of each other pushes the entire public sewer system dangerously beyond its operational limits.
Now that we understand the chaos happening out in the public main, we need to transition our focus directly to you, Because when the public system gets overwhelmed, your home becomes incredibly vulnerable. But the good news is these backups rarely happen without warning. There are very specific red flags that your house will give you. Pay really close attention to these symptoms. Slow drains across multiple sinks, that's your first clue. Strange gurgling sounds coming from idle fixtures, that's trapped air being forced up by rising water. Watch out for recurring blockages that just won't go away no matter what you do. And the ultimate red flag, water actively backing up into toilets, bathtubs, or laundry areas immediately following rainfall. These signs often appear in tight clusters during spring weeks when the weather conditions are changing rapidly.
Keep in mind, even if your household's internal plumbing is absolutely perfect, the surging conditions in the public line will simply follow the laws of physics and seek out the lowest level points in your home. This means your basements, crawl spaces, and ground-level floor drains are sitting ducks. This is particularly true if your home doesn't have effective backflow protection installed. The public water will literally use your clean plumbing as an escape hatch.
I know dealing with a threat of plumbing emergencies is incredibly stressful, but we aren't here to panic. We are here to prepare. There are highly effective, expert-recommended solutions and actionable steps you can take right now to shield your property from the chaos happening out in the streets.
Let's walk through these practical preventative steps. First, ensure you have backwater valves installed. These act as a one-way street, letting wastewater out but slamming shut if public water tries to push back in. Also, make absolutely sure your sump pump is well maintained and fully operational before the thaw hits. Second, look at the outside of your house. Keep those gutters and downspouts directing water far, far away from your foundation so you don't accidentally add to the groundwater pressure cooker around your own pipes. And third, simply reduce the amount of water you put down your own drains during peak spring storms. That alone limits the structural strain on the system.
Now I want you to remember one crucial number: 0. That is exactly how many chemical drain cleaners you should pour down your sink if you suspect a mainline sewer backup. 0. Actually, professionals warn strongly against this. If the public main is backing up, store-bought chemicals are completely ineffective against these deep, systemic line problems. All you are doing is creating a pool of toxic, burning acid that will just sit in your pipes and seriously complicate the job for the professional plumbers who eventually have to come in and fix it.
So what is the exact safe procedure if you suspect a backup or if, worst case scenario, contaminated water actually starts entering your home? First things first, act early and stop flushing waste. Do not add any more water to the problem. Next, prioritize a professional assessment and cleanup immediately. Remember, sewer-related incidents involve contaminated, hazardous water. This is definitely not a DIY weekend project. Finally, have professionals inspect all connected plumbing and external drainage points to identify the true underlying cause. They'll utilize things like camera inspections to see exactly what has been compromised.
Zooming out from our individual basements to the community level for a second, this seasonal spike serves as a pretty powerful reminder that our sewer systems depend entirely on capacity, condition, and weather patterns. But while the spring thaw is temporary, its damage doesn't have to be permanent. Targeted infrastructure improvements, things like proactive maintenance, rigorous inspection of aging lines, and reducing that cross-system groundwater infiltration can vastly lower the chance of these backups for entire neighborhoods in the future.
We've seen exactly how the perfect storm forms underground, from melting ice and massive rainwater to winter debris and the invisible pressure cooker of groundwater. We know how it breaches our homes and exactly what steps to take to fight back. So, as the winter cold finally fades and the birds start returning, I want to leave you with this one vital question to ask yourself today. Is your home ready for the spring thaw? Assess your defenses now, well before the melt begins.